Welcome to Best Friends in Franchising, where we talk money, mindset, and everything in between. I'm Morgan Knoller.
And I'm Catherine Allen.
Let's dive in. Catherine, tell us about where you just were. We were learning about a brand that has 20 different franchises under it.
Yeah. So I was in Dallas, Texas, and I was at the Neighborly brand. It's called the Neighborly U event, and it's a great event. They bring in a bunch of franchise consultants and essentially educate us about their 20 brands that they have. For those of you not familiar with Neighborly, Neighborly is the largest home services franchise, or in the world. They've been around for 40 years, and they have an incredible culture, company, values, vision. Um, it's so clear from being there and meeting, all the franchise developers that represent the different brands and the leadership, that they truly live those values with every touch that they make. They had a panel of franchise owners at the Grounds Guys, Molly Maid. It was awesome. It was really fun.
Love it. And for those of you that don't know, Neighborly was the original group that founded VetFran. They're extremely veteran friendly, which I love. We're an Air Force family. They're not just friendly to the veterans themselves, but also any of the dependents like me. I did not serve, my husband did, but I am a dependent, so I love that that discount applies to anybody that's under that same umbrella. And they work really well with them. And I think I'm right with this, but they said the top 10% performers, most of those are veterans.
I believe it because the panel that they had, let me just see, there was a couple, another couple. So there was four different owners up there, and they were all veterans. Um, so I would believe it. What I really love about, you know, the home services space is, and I think you and I were talking about this yesterday. I mean, it's kind of that sexy versus not sexy franchise, right? So I think you and I, we've been talking to a lot of different people, and our clients come in and they have an idea in mind of what franchising is and what they want. Oftentimes it's a brick and mortar, maybe it's a hot new gym concept. What else, Morgan? What do you get?
Yeah, I think back in the 60s, right, we had McDonald's launched their franchising industry, and then you had Dairy Queen. So you had two that were brick and mortars, and that's launched the entire franchise world. And now it's just so different from that. So that shiny bright object is no longer what's making the most money. It's this home services, it's senior care, it's all sorts of things that you just didn't even realize was a franchise in general. But yes, I think that's a huge misconception. And I think what Neighborly does really well is that you can own multiple franchises under Neighborly. So if you're in roofing and someone needs windows, maybe you have two franchises. Maybe you've got the windows and the roofing, and then you have a multi-unit franchise all under Neighborly, but they're doing different things. So there's a lot of scalable growth, I think, with Neighborly, where you have so many different options.
And, spot on. I just was talking to one of my clients today. He owns a Patch Boys franchise, which is drywall, and he's looking to expand and buy his next franchise. And so I presented him with five different opportunities under the neighborly umbrella. And yeah, one's an HVAC concept. One is Mr. Electric, so electrical. There's plumbing in there. We also had home inspection as well as shelf genies. So, which is essentially custom shelving and organization. And it's a great complement. And Patch Boys is not part of Neighborly, so it's home services based. He knows what goes into that, what it takes to run it. He's doing well. He's in year 4. And so now he's looking to, bring in that next add-on to continue to build out his portfolio, and yeah, book a business.
Yeah, so let's talk about some of them specifically. So we mentioned Mr. Electric. things about Mr. Electric that are fun. No license required. Love that about them. It can be an executive model, right? They can
Mhm.
do EV charging stations. So it's more than you think. It's not just coming into the home and doing electric things like that. They've broadened out to more commercial group or work as well. So that one's kind of exciting. Glass Doctor. Let's talk a little bit about
Glass
Glass
Doctor.
Doctor.
That is a good one.
Yes. Tell
Has
us
two
about the Glass
models.
Doctor. Two
It
models.
has two models. So they have the auto model and then they have the auto and home model. What's the other one?
Auto and
Yeah.
home. Yep.
And yeah, actually, so what's cool about Glass Doctor and the auto model is they have a lot of national partnerships with companies like Amazon, with companies like Kroger. They are the only ones who have an exclusive partnership with Tesla, where they go in and they do recalibration of the like the cameras and things. So they're working like think of it as like fleets, right? Think of any like Amazon has a fleet, Kroger has a fleet, anything that has a fleet of cars, they are their, national partner, which in turn benefits the franchise owner. Numbers look really good there, and definitely would be one I would explore if I was interested in the home services space for sure.
Absolutely. And I remember they even mentioned that they will help train and hire your GM, which is kind of unique to a franchisor. That's not usually the go-to.
It's funny you say that. Yeah. So they have a program and there's a name for it and it's slipping my mind right now, but we were talking about how as franchise owners, you and I know this. I came from the franchising world in senior care for 13 years, so I worked with hundreds of franchisees. And I think one of the trickiest things is finding, training, retaining, and holding accountable a really good sales rep. And I think it's probably similar to the GM, but they actually have a full on program to help you, what you just said, to recruit them, to train them, retrain, like everything that is needed um, in that area, which I think is phenomenal because that
Is that
is,
the Paradox program? Is that what it's
thank
called?
you. It is the Paradox program.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. So, and you mentioned Grounds Guys. That's another one that's like full service. They even do holiday lighting, snow removal. It's so much more than you realize, landscape design. So that's kind of a cool one because you think Grounds Guys, you immediately go to like landscaping, right?
Love grounds guys. I think people often think just like lawn maintenance, but it's so much more than that. Like you said, it's hardscaping, softscaping, the holiday light removal. That's a pretty good portion of their business. For those in the colder weather climates that get snow, absolutely that ice and snow removal. So when, people might be worried who live in the Northeast or Chicago or places that get really, really cold, absolutely they continue to get that revenue coming in during those cold weather months, and then they ramp it back up with the summer and fall with the lawn services. The grounds guys, I really like them as well. One of the owners there who was a veteran obviously on the panel was with the grounds guys, so um, I think he had maybe 3 units. He told a really great story, and you could just tell from all the owners up there. Just they had a lot of heart, a lot of pride. They're resilient. They have a ton of grit, but they're doing really, really well. And it's a really great concept.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk more about this in another podcast, but you touched on something really important that there's just like when it's a really great group of people, you want to be a part of that. And you've talked more about this before, Catherine, but the cultural fit for us, that was Soccer Stars. And when you go and you are talking to all these different franchises, when you feel that it's a fit, it's such a great feeling going into being a franchise owner. It just gives you that confidence boost that you're with the right group of people. And I think all these neighborly brands, like all these different franchises, you get that feeling across the board. It's not just half of them, it's all of them.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll dive deeper on a different podcast, but I think when you're going into franchising and exploring opportunities, you should be thinking of this as a job interview. When you go to apply for a job, you're applying for a role. The role you're applying for is franchise owner, but you're joining a larger organization. And you really want to be looking at the executive leadership. Do you respect them? Are they true partners? Are they innovators? Are they pushing that envelope? And then, what are their values and did those align with your values? Because that's the whole point of a company is that all those values align. And like a part of being your own boss and business owner is that flexibility, yes, but and making money, yes, but being happy and having joy in the process. And I think you and I have a lot of joy in the process because we have our values are very aligned with those of soccer stars and other owners in the leadership. And it really starts at the top, like anything, right?
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's a common mistake that we'll see occasionally is someone going into this process and not understanding that this is a mutual back and forth. The franchisor can definitely decide not to sign a future franchisee if it's not the right fit, and I think that's really important to understand because so many people come into it trying to like cherry pick what they want, but it's a relationship and it goes both ways. And then yeah, and I think something else Neighborly does really well that I want to talk about a little bit is Junk King. Kind of a weird one, not one that you would think that people would be into, but they do. Amazon's a client for Junk King, is that right?
Amazon is a client for Junk King. Yes, that is correct. And they created a program with them initially for mattresses, I want to say it was. And so they were, taking the mattresses for Amazon customers. But I think it's expanded into other areas because obviously Amazon sells everything. So that is really cool. And then also, I was talking to the lead franchise development manager there and asking about the different brands, and she said specifically, she's like, Junk Kings has a really cool, speaking of culture, a really cool culture. She just described it as it's unique to the other brands, it's really fun, the owners have a good time. So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is cool because I do feel like different franchises are going to have different feels with like who the franchisees are.
Yes.
And Junk King really relies on that call center, and we've talked a lot about like the technology with different franchises. And I think one thing that Junk King does really well, and a lot of their other brands do too, or the other franchises, but they do kind of like auto booking with accounts. So as a franchisee, if you need that extra support or you're kind of like hesitant and you are unsure of where your sales or your leads are going to come from, Junk King could be a really good one because the call center's there. There's some auto booking available for you, and that just helps you grow so much faster.
Oh, yeah, and I mean it's all the brands, right? So they have that call center for all the brands under Neighborly, and that's huge because guess what? When Rainbow Restoration, when there's a flood or a fire or a lot of these things, plumbing, like your pipes burst, electric, your electricity goes out. These are urgent needs, and you win on like speed to lead, right? So having a call center so you don't have to be tied to your phone 24/7 around the clock is super beneficial and absolutely um, you know, just just like needed in that industry. So yeah, they have the call center, they handle the leads, they do the warm handoff. So really it's just the franchise owner or whoever they have in their management position is coming in to close the lead, do the assessment, go out to the home. So they don't need to worry about kind of that intake, initial intake process.
I love that because I wouldn't want to worry about it. That's
No,
not.
I wouldn't either. I think that would, if I had to do that, I would not want to buy a home services business.
Yes, I agree. I agree. So that takes kind of that part off. And then Mr. Handyman services are killing it right now. Everybody, I'm about to hire a handyman. I need some stuff done around the house. God love my husband. He's not the one to do it. So handyman needs to step in and get these honeydew lists fixed for me fast.
Well, yeah, with the average home, being around 40 years old in the US, like homes are, I mean, my gosh, what did we just have? I mean, there's always something. We always need something. We always need a handyman for like things are breaking all the time. And so yes, Mr. Handyman is a great concept and absolutely a need, absolutely recession proof. AI will not be taking Mr. Handyman's job anytime soon.
No, no, we need Mr. Handyman. Don't go anywhere. And then we've got the property management, real property management. That's like 34% rent in the US. So that's a high percentage. It's probably higher now, honestly, with everything going on in the different interest rates. But yeah, real property management, we need those people.
So interestingly, with that one, we got to be careful about talking numbers. So I'm not going to talk numbers. But when I was asking some folks in terms of profitability and which of the brands had higher profit margins, just curious, that one came up at one of the top positions. So for those of you listening, real property management is definitely one to consider in the home services space. Profit margins are really strong. You don't need an office, you can do it from home. They talked about an owner. Actually, this was a good story. He's been in business 9 years. He is, they shared this. I'm got to be careful on the numbers, but he's making a lot of money, and he's working 5 hours a month.
Yeah, I think we can say things like 5 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures, things like that. So that might be fun to hear.
Yeah, yeah, definitely six figures,
That's
multiple six
impressive.
figures.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
So, I think he had 2,200 units under management.
Wow.
So for 2,200 units under management, working 5 hours a week, making multiple six figures, I'd be looking at it. I'd be, and I think someone like that. I mean, I talked to David about it, right? So my husband's in real estate. He's a real estate developer. We do own a property up in Redmond, Oregon, and we do have a property management company who manages it for us for a percentage a month. I think we pay 8 or 9%. And so, yeah, I mean, that's essentially what this is it is people who are like me, I guess exactly like me, who are going out and buying real estate as a, way to diversify our portfolio. We live in California, so we do not live in Oregon. And yeah, so the company does everything. We pay them a percentage. Like that is what this company does. And so as a franchise owner, you're going in, they're teaching you all the things you need to know. They have a really dialed in process. And so, yeah, really good profit margins. You can do it from home. I think this is maybe for someone who's like really into real estate, I would think. Like you're that,
Yeah,
that
absolutely. Or someone that's in property management right now, like I've already,
maybe a real estate agent, right?
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Someone that really understands that world would be excellent for that type of a franchise. Um, Another one we want to talk about is play Five Star Painting. That's a great one because it's a little bit lower buy-in than some of the others. You don't have to have as much to get in and get started right away. And again with that call center, because I know I made a note that Five Star Painting had the call center too, which they all do. It is 7 days a week, so that's unique too. There's no off days. There's no like, hey, we're not available on the weekends, because home services you need to be available on the weekends because probably that client's calling you on a Saturday or a Sunday
Right.
and during the week, but you need to be open. So that's neat.
And with that one, I think, yeah, just to add on, it's just, it's residential, it's also commercial. So, you have two different revenue streams coming in.
That's great to know. And then AirServe. I know you were introducing AirServe to someone, right?
I introduced AirServe to my friend I talked about earlier on this podcast. Yes, very also very high up there in terms of interest level to me, profitability. It's HVAC, so heating, cooling, air quality control. Absolutely. I was told that it is sold out in some markets. So it's a popular one. It's hot, and it was lucky enough open in the area I was looking for, and I just introduced my client today. So yeah, AirServe is up there at the top, I'd say, in terms of like my top choices in the Neighborly brand. So yeah, I would check that one out.
Good to know.
Yeah.
And then for any veterans listening, the discount from Neighborly is the 20% veteran discount. So it's a big discount. It's not a small amount. That's really nice that they do that for them. Um, any other ones that we want to talk about?
Trying to think. I think Shelf Genie is really interesting. They are taking this approach, given my background's marketing, and I'm such a marketing nerd and a geek. I love all things marketing. And they have partnered with, a professional athlete, some influencers online, like big names in like the home improvement space, because Shelf Genie is custom cabinets and organization. And so they are, their marketing is amazing. Their brand is really fun. It's like a fun brand. It's a fun brand. I think they have like a pretty heavy female franchise ownership in their network. So for those of you females out there who love organizing, I know we hired an organizer. She was phenomenal to come in and declutter and organize our house. If any of you kind of are into that, I mean, this is a really fun one to look at that also has really good numbers and, yeah, profit margins.
Yeah, I think I look at the Neighborly Brands as when I did interior design. I think this would have been like my one-stop shop. Whenever it's like, do you have a
Yeah.
number for this person? I wish I would have had a Rolodex of Neighborly franchises because I would have just said, yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I would just have given every number of the franchise owners in the area under Neighborly because I think that's kind of how I'm looking at it. If you have a home or a property, you could just go through every single franchise brand and you've got everyone you would need to run anything in the area.
So you are bringing up an excellent, excellent point, and they talked about this at the event. So there's 20 brands, right? There's 20 brands, and they've been around 40 years. So they have a good saturation throughout the US. And these brands, and you heard the owners talk about it on the panel, they work together and they refer each other business. So in these markets, right, all over the US, you got Mr. Electric with Mr. Rooter, so plumbing, electric, let's get the HVAC, the grounds guys. Like you have a comprehensive ecosystem right now for your home. And so they are actually referring business to one another, which I love, love, love. I don't think any other home services brand can do it to the scale that Neighborly does, given they have 20 brands. But you could essentially, I mean, you have like 20 referral partners right there, just set to go, right? Boop.
That is so brilliant. I love that because why
Yeah,
would you not? Right? You're just helping each other out. All franchise
totally.
owners want to help each other, but in this case, it's just easy money going back and forth between everybody.
Yeah, it's great. And it's you know them, you trust them, you have the same values, right? Because you're under Neighborly, even though let's say each little brand has its maybe unique culture, you still operate the core values and mission and vision of the company are the same across Neighborly brands. So,
And now tell me this, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Do they do big brand like neighborly get together calls, or is it just the franchise? Like, do they just do like Air Serv talking to each other and Shelf Genie, or do they do one massive get together and within all the neighborly brands outside of a conference?
yeah, so I don't specifically know the answer to that question. But I do know, I would assume there might be opportunities that they do. I do know oh gosh, there was a fun name for it. The reunion is maybe what they called it. But just like, for Soccer Stars, we have our by every other year conference. They have a conference every year they have, I want to say 4,400 owners come to one conference together. So all the brands are there, which would lead me to believe that they probably do cross,
Yeah.
calls and things of that nature. And that's where they do just like, awards and educational seminars and, a lot of fun stuff. I hear they're epic. They're doing their next one, I think, in Nashville, I was told.
Oh, that's going to be
That
fun.
that's just incredible to me. I mean, at our conference, we had, I think, 250 owners, right?
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
But
Can you
same kind of
imagine
thing.
400, 4,000?
That's a massive conference. And so, yeah, same thing with us with Soccer Stars. It's Youth Athletes United. We have multiple brands underneath there, multiple franchises, and it was fun to
Yeah,
get together and see what everybody was doing and talk to everyone about their different journeys. And I think I can't imagine Neighborly on that scale.
I know, it's huge. But you know what? Like, think about it like this, just like we had the multi-brand, at our conference. We're all in the youth enrichment space. They're all in the home services space. So yes, maybe you're the grounds guys, or maybe you're Rainbow Restoration, or maybe you're Window Genie, but or maybe your, home inspection. But at the end of the day, like best practices across any of those companies, like challenges will be the same. I feel like there's going to be unique little ones, but there's going to be a lot of common challenges people are facing that they can work together to solve. There's going to be best practices, right, that people can share. Like that's the benefit of these conferences, and honestly the benefit of a franchise. Like when you join a franchise system, that is one of the reasons why you join a franchise system and don't go out on your own, because when you're like a part of a whole, you are leveraging that industry, that what's the word, institutional, sorry, that institutional knowledge. Like you guys are so much better and stronger together and can leverage one another for best practices. Like I have this challenge going on, what does anyone else experience that? What did you do? You and I today, you just talked me down from an issue we had with soccer stars. So it's like being able to lean on your fellow franchise owners and work together to celebrate the wins, to work through the challenges, to share the best practices. Like that's why I love franchising. When you're, on your own as an entrepreneur and figuring this all out yourself with no systems, no processes, no playbooks, like to get from 0 to like 60, you can do it pretty dang fast in a franchise. It takes a lot more time of trial and error to, I think, make those leaps and growth. Wouldn't you
Yeah,
agree?
I completely agree. And I think that's a big misconception with franchise ownership. I think everyone from the outside that maybe hasn't dove into it a little bit might think that we're all competing against each other, and that's just not the way that the best franchises succeed. It's that we're all working together and all sharing ideas and scaling and growing as much as we can, but as a unit. It's not just functional. It's a functioning unit, and we all share and we're all growing together. And I think that's the brilliance of it. I agree.
And I want to bring up another, I don't know if I'd call it a misconception, but just something I used to hear at my old company, and I'm curious of your thoughts on this, Mark. Um, so some people, so I'm going to cite a specific, so there was an owner in New Mexico, and a lot of the marketing we had in our logo, there was like an 866 number. That was part of the logo, okay? So when you see that, it looks like a national company, like a franchise. And she was convinced that hurt her reputation. People don't want to buy from a franchise. If they know you're a franchise and not a mom and pop company, local company, their decision to buy from you is going to change. The perception is going to change. How do you feel about that?
That's interesting because I think even though we are all franchise owners, we're all, oh gosh, I will cut that out. We are all, so let me start over because I'm going to cut this whole thing because
Okay.
Steve's called, but I had to think of what I was saying.
I know I'm throwing you a curveball.
No, you're good. That's interesting, Catherine. I do think that I think that people think franchise ownership is just this national corporate brand and it has a call center, sure, but the people that are getting the calls and the people doing the business are local. They're local business owners and they're probably the mayor of the town. And if they're not, they're about to be and they don't even know it yet because they'll be meeting all of their friends and family and sharing that they're a business owner. And even though it's part of a franchise, the franchise isn't what's running it. It's the local business owner running it. The franchise is just the systems in place and the playbook for that person that is the local business owner. So yes, I think that probably did hurt her. I don't disagree with that because I do put my personal cell phone out there. I want people to know that they can talk to me at any time. And so I do think that that's important to know that it is a local business owner. It's not a corporate franchise that's going to be actually doing the work. Maybe there's a call center, but the person on the like the boots on the ground are going to be the local people that you've hired, or it's going to be you doing the work.
Right. And I mean, I think a big part of our success at Soccer Stars is like we're heavily involved in the community. We do so many community events. We do, different like Lafayette Wine and Art Festival, the Pear and Wine. Funny how these all have Pear and Wine Festival in Moraga coming up. We're doing all, I know you do these too, all the Halloween
Yeah,
shop,
Halloween's huge, back to school
back
nights,
to
you've got
school
farmers
night,
markets,
farmers markets.
sponsor sports teams
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
Banners are up for soccer stars all over California. If you haven't seen them, between
yeah.
the two of us, we probably sponsor many, many teams. Auctions,
Yeah,
everything.
we donate auction, we raffle away free seasons to raise money for schools. We did that to, my gosh, with like between school sponsorships, charity sponsorships, donations. I probably donated like, I don't know, 5 to 6 thousand
Yeah,
last year.
yeah.
Free, like to help schools raise money to, support my, Children's Health Guild charity. So yeah, I think that,
They're real people, they're local business owners. You might have a corporate
yeah.
call center, but that's not the person that's doing the hard work day to day. And the Neighborly brands coming back to it, excellent. You can't go wrong with any of them. If you want more information, contact Catherine or myself, the Franchise Insiders. You can find our information online. And this
Franchiseinsiders.com,
com,
and you can scroll down and see our cute little faces.
and you can select one of us or both of us, whatever you want to do. This has been the Best Friends in Franchising, and we hope you enjoyed our podcast.
Bye, everyone.